ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। This is taking quite a bit of time. Just a second. Just taking time to open the database. Just open on the browser itself. Oh yeah, I think there will be a delay here again. Maybe there's a lot of things on my laptop, because of which there's not enough free space for it to live stream. It's not about the app, I think. Maybe the files and folders. Wow. This doesn't come up. It's taking forever to come here. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, text 3. You gave? Or you did 3 already? 3? Satyaki. Here there is no mention of Satyaki. Which verse you did? Actually, I did not do 1, 3. I did 1, 2. I already put the 1, 3. I don't know if I can. 1? No, that I did 1, 2. But he did last Wednesday. So yes, we'll continue with 1, 3. Pasya etam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupadaputrena Tava Sishyena Dhimata Pasyetam Panduputranam. Finally, this is woken up. Pasyetam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamom Vyudham Drupadaputrena Tava Sishyena Dhimata Pasyetam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamom Vyudham Drupadaputrena Tava Sishyena Dhimata Pasyetam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamom Vyudham Drupadaputrena Tava Sishyena Dhimata. Stand. Pasyetam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamom Vyudham Drupadaputrena Tava Sishyena Dhimata. Pasyetam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamom Vyudham Drupadaputrena Tava Sishyena Dhimata. Pasyetam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamom Tavasishyena dhimata Pasyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Jamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tavasishyena dhimata. Mataji's. Pasyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Jamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tavasishyena dhimata. Pasyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Jamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tavasishyena dhimata. Pasyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Jamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tavasishyena dhimata. Pasyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Jamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tavasishyena dhimata. Pasya, behold, etam, this, Panduputranam, of the sons of Pandu, Acharya, O teacher, Mahatim, great, Chamum, military force, Vyudham, arranged, Drupada Putrena, by the son of Drupada, Tava, your, Sishyena, disciple, Dhimata, very intelligent. So how about the translation purport in Chinese? You read to them. Maybe I'll read in English and then you read in Chinese. Is that so? Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation: O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Please repeat. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Purport: Duryodhana, a great diplomat, wanted to point out the defects of Dronacharya, the great Brahmana commander-in-chief. Dronacharya had some political quarrel with King Drupada, the father of Draupadi, who was Arjuna's wife. As a result of this quarrel, Drupada performed a great sacrifice by which he received the benediction of having a son who would be able to kill Dronacharya. Dronacharya knew this perfectly well, and yet as a liberal Brahmana, he did not hesitate to impart all his military secrets when the son of Drupada, Drishtadyumna, was entrusted to him for military education. Now on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Drishtadyumna took the side of the Pandavas, and it was he who arranged for their military phalanx after having learned the art from Dronacharya. Duryodhana pointed out this mistake of Dronacharya's so that he might be alert and uncompromising in the fighting. By this he wanted to point out also that he should not be similarly lenient in battle against the Pandavas, who were also Dronacharya's affectionate students. Arjuna especially was his most affectionate and brilliant student. Duryodhan also warned that such leniency in the fight would lead to defeat. So we have Chinese devotees here from China. So there is translation going on for them. So there are very important points in this verse. We can observe the character of Duryodhan and also Dronacharya. So Duryodhan, on one hand, he was an expert diplomat. So Srila Prabhupada defined diplomacy as planning and strategizing for one's own sense gratification. So I will be nice to someone if that person can satisfy me. And if the person is an obstacle for my sense gratification, then I strategize war against that person or that country or that whatever the party may be. So this diplomacy is actually a demoniac quality. Here in these verses, from maybe it'll take some time to get on this screen, but on the live it's instantaneous. So these verses are from the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 13 through 15. Idam maya alabdham imam prapsye manoratham idam astidam api me bhavishyati punardhanam aso maya hatah shatrur hanishye चापरानपि ईश्वरोऽहमहं भोगी सिद्धोऽहं बलवान् सुखी आढ्योऽभिजनवानस्मि कोऽन्योऽस्ति सदृशो मया यक्ष्ये दास्यामि मोदिष्य इत्यज्ञानविमोहिताः. The demoniac person thinks, this is 16, 13 through 15. So much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So this scheming is diplomacy. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. And my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. So the sacrifice, although you see here, the demoniac person, how he thinks, oh, this is my enemy, I have killed him, this is my ally, and because of this association I can gain more and more. So he will scheme how to be nice to this person and not nice to this person, or this country or that country. So this is diplomacy, and sometimes he also does charity, and so-called attains good name and fame. But it is not charity in the mode of goodness. It is charity in the mode of passion and ignorance. There is no goodwill. Finish? There is no goodwill. So there is just the desire for name and fame, which is why they do charity also. I think this is sacrifice. There is actually sacrifice, charity. All of them actually come in the same. So I will just show these sacrifices that are done in the mode, in the three modes. The 17th chapter is explained very nicely. Of sacrifices, the sacrifice performed, this is 17:11. Of sacrifices, the sacrifice performed according to the directions of Scripture as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward is of the nature of goodness. This is charity in the mode of, or sacrifice in the mode of goodness. Charity is also a matter of sacrifice. Sacrificing your wealth. So this is of the mode of goodness. 17:20? Oh, good. Okay. After this, I will go to that. So, without expectation of reward, charity must be done, or sacrifice must be done without expectation of reward. That is the mode of goodness. Then, abhisandhayatu palham dambhartham apichaiva yat ijyate bharatasreshtha tam yajnam vidhi rajasam. Rajasam means mode of goodness, passion. But the sacrifice performed for some material benefit or for the sake of pride, O chief of the Bharatas, you should know to be in the mode of passion. Then here, vidhihinam asrishtanam mantrahinam adakshinam shraddha virahitam yajnam tamasam parisakshate. Any sacrifice performed without regard for the directions of Scripture, without distribution of prasadam, spiritual food, without chanting of Vedic hymns and remunerations to the priests, and without faith is considered to be in the mode of ignorance. See this? So, as Nitai Prabhu suggested, 17:20, Dātavyam, yes, charity. Worth giving. Here, this is exact verses concerning charity specifically. Charity given out of duty. This is very important, given out of duty. It is not what I like or what I feel good, no. What is to be done, not what I like to do. Duty, that is duty. Without expectation of return, at the proper time and place, and to a worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness. See, all these considerations should be there. Then in 21, charity in the mode of passion. But charity performed with the expectation of some return, or with a desire for fruitive results, or in a grudging mood, is said to be charity in the mode of passion. These devotees asking me always some donation. Okay, take something. No. That kind of charity is in the mode of passion. You see? And sometimes they give charity so that they get some, let's say, good karma. Or especially we notice this among the Chinese in Singapore. They are very charitable. Many of them, they give charity so that they accrue some pious merit. For that reason they do it. So that is not bad, but it is in the mode of passion. It is not. Anyway, if you do charity, that is a good start. But it is not very high class. Not in the mode of goodness. Not very pure. So it is not the amount or what I sacrifice. It's how I sacrifice it. You see, ultimately, we are going to sacrifice everything because at the time of death, we have to give up everything, right? But that's by force. So we are not going to get any merit for such sacrifice. That's not a sacrifice, in fact. We're dragged out. That. So anyway, we have to part with our belongings, so-called belongings. Actually, they're not our belongings. The sense of belonging is in our head. It's not actually our belongings. It is just quota given to us by the Supreme Lord. So, if by properly understanding that Ishavashamidam Sarvam, that everything is Krishna's property and it has to be used in the service of Krishna, and giving charity in that mood is what constitutes the mode of goodness. Any other kind of charity, if I think that I'm giving away some part of my wealth, I'm very charitable, that kind of charity is in the mode of passion, okay, or in a grudging mood. Then there is more charity in the mode of ignorance. Let's see that. Adesha kale yad danam apatrebhyascha diyate asatkritam avagyatam tat tamasam udahritam. And charity performed at an impure place, at an improper time, to unworthy persons or without proper attention and respect is said to be in the mode of ignorance. See, without proper attention and respect to unworthy persons at improper time, impure place. You see, these are the considerations should be taken, that should be observed. So therefore, in this battlefield where it was performed, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. You see, it was auspicious place, Dharma Kshetre, religious place, because it was going to be a sacrifice of so many people, so many men, and it has to be done for the matter of duty. Arjuna was induced by Krishna to fight as a matter of duty, not for simply acquiring the throne. Arjuna thought in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita that why should I fight? Because he was thinking, why should I fight for the throne? Why should I enjoy? Why I need this? Why I need this? That was his problem. But as Krishna explained everything at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna said, Karishe vachanam tava. I will do as you say. If you ask me to fight, I will fight. If you ask me to stop fighting, I will stop fighting. And Krishna, of course, wanted him to fight, so he fought. So, in the beginning it was I, and in the last it was you, Krishna. So that is the transformation that needs to be happening in us. From the center of I, our self-interest must shift from my personal, the soul, to the super soul. In fact, because we are only interested in ourselves, we even forget our own soul, our own self we forget. And we think we are the body. In this way our ignorance develops. But if our attention and interest, nate vidu swarthagatim hi Vishnu, our swarthagati, our self-interest is Vishnu and not ourself, then we will come to the proper platform of action. So Duryodhan, being very diplomatic, which is a demoniac quality as we have seen, scheming and all this, identified, it's a very good contrast, this verse presents a very good contrast between the characters of Dronacharya and Duryodhan, although they are on the same side of the war, of the battle. On one side we have Duryodhan, who is calculating. He pointed out Drona's mistake. Oh, you have taught Drishtadyumna, the son of Drupada, all the signs of military warfare, and today he is using it against you. You see, you have not considered this point while you were teaching him. You know very well that he was, because actually that was the history, that Drishtadyumna was born to Drupada because Drupada had this great desire to kill Dronacharya, because he was insulted. There was a political dispute between them. So that is in the Mahabharata. So for that reason alone Drishtadyumna took birth. Still you see the liberalism of Dronacharya, how liberal he was. He taught him how to fight, knowing well that he would kill him. So the considerations of Dronacharya and the considerations of Duryodhana, you can see a very stark difference. Dronacharya is thinking, you see, because you have done, you are in a danger now. So he is always thinking, how I can protect myself. Whereas Dronacharya was doing it as a matter of duty. I am a Brahmana, I have to teach. No matter what the result is. You see, without expectation of reward. That's what Brahmana is all about. Detachment. What is that? Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Krishna spoke about this in the second chapter. Karmanya eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur ma te sangos vakarmani. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities and never be attached to not doing your duty. There is always a battle when we consider... you have to translate that. 247. I think you can see on the board, 247. I mean on the screen. But it's a bit delayed, you know. So you see, we have to not only do our duty and not expect the reward, but also we cannot be attached to not doing our duty. So there is always, when we consider any action, there is always these two things that present before us. One is attachment, one is duty. Our decision should be always, what is my duty here? Not that I compromise duty for my attachment. Like for example, in the Ramayana, Lord Ram was very much attached to Sita. He fought a great war and killing, millions against Ravana just to get Sita back. After all that, when somebody criticized Ram for keeping Sita after she has not been at home for 1 year, then he banished her from the kingdom just because he does not compromise with his duty of a king, as a king. He showed how we should be willing to sacrifice our own gratification for the sake of duty. When there is always these two choices, Ram could have chosen any one of these. Either banish her for the sake of duty, or keep her because he is attached to her, and then even though she had no fault, he could have sued that person. Who is that person? He is the king, he can execute that person if he wants for talking rubbish. Because it was rubbish. Sita even passed the test of fire. Fire is the purest element in the material world. Fire could not burn her. Fire could not touch her. She was purer than the fire. And not just fire, all the demigods starting from Brahma witnessed that whole incident of she passing through the fire. So there's enough evidence that she is unpolluted. Still, for the matter of duty, he did not argue with that person or bring him to task. He just banished her, just to set an example of the ideal king, or even as an ideal person, how we should do our duty. And not prefer attachment over duty. So here in this verse today with Dronacharya, he could have been attached. when he knew that Drishtadyumna was born to kill him, no, he is danger, I will not. That is diplomacy. See, if he was born to kill him, whether Dronacharya taught him or somebody else taught him, he would have killed him anyway. So the thing you can't change anyway. But thinking that I can change the future by changing the action now, and if I deviate from my duty, calculating like that, then I will be the loser because I have not performed my duty. So this is the art of work, how to perform work. Dronacharya is giving a good example here, classic example. And Duryodhana is giving a classic example of the other side. Who is saying that Dronacharya did a mistake by doing his duty because he did not consider his attachment of his own life. You see how both the characters are. So this is the reason why Mahabharata is called the fifth Veda, because theoretically we learn, okay, these are the qualities we should develop, these are the qualities we should renounce, and everything like that. But in Mahabharata, all that theory is personified, like, Duryodhana is the personification of all those bad characteristics. Dronacharya, and you see how he is a personification of the ideal Brahmana. And we have in one place Bhishma Dev, who is Mahajan, at the same time on the other side, to teach us what happens if even we are an advanced soul and if we stand on the wrong side, what is the consequences. And of course the other side, the Pandavas, who are saintly kings. Everything is there. So in the form of characters, in the form of persons, in the form of a story, the entire message of the Vedas is contained within the Mahabharata. So this diplomacy, especially for devotees, is very, very bad. So, devotee means, I will show you that first before this. A devotee automatically attains all good qualities. This is devotee. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunaistatva samasate suraha harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathena sati dāvato bahihi. This is 5:18-12 of Srimad Bhagavatam. All the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge and renunciation become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. See, all the good qualities become manifest in the body of a devotee. Means a devotee automatically gets all good qualities. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? A person driven by his own unbridled mind, uncontrolled mind, he has no good qualities. Other uncontrolled people, uncontrolled people with uncontrolled mind may praise such a person as having good qualities. But a person who is of controlled mind, he will never find anything good. In a mental asylum, mental hospital, one patient may say this patient is very good. But actually all are crazy inside the mental hospital. So the opinion of another crazy person is no proof that another crazy person is a saint. So therefore we should judge what is good and what is bad by the directions of scripture. Yes, so as we develop our devotional service, here it is said we develop all good qualities. But for this to happen, we have to carefully take care of our devotional creeper. It's not that, oh, yesterday I was a meat eater and illicit sex gambler and everything, and then today I have started chanting, I will immediately develop all good qualities overnight. That is possible if one is completely surrendered, like we saw in the case of Mrigari, the hunter. When Narad Muni asked him to stop, he was killing. You know what Mrigari was doing? He was half killing animals. He took pleasure in killing them, shooting them in such a way. He was a hunter, a tribal hunter in the forest. And he shot the animals in such a way that they would not die immediately. It's an art, to do it like that. Because every time you can't be successful. By fluke, one time maybe. But his father trained him in such a way that every time the animal should be half killed. It should not die immediately. And he should struggle for life. And he took pride in such art, in such skill. And he was killing like that. And Narad Muni, when he was passing through the forest, he saw all these animals. Then he traced it back to the hunter and he found the hunter and said, "What are you doing?" Then he said, "No, my father taught me this." He said, "We at least kill the animals in full. Already killing is bad, but at least kill in full. Don't kill half like this because the suffering is much greater. So you will have to suffer far more. There is something called law of karma. You will have to suffer for this. Either you kill fully or half. But half killing is even worse." Then he started, because he never heard this karma. So you will have to be all these animals and be killed. Then he started to realize that, oh, is this true? Then Narad Muni preached to him and he became such a saint that when after some time Narad Muni came to visit him, how he was doing, he came with Parvat Muni, and when he was approaching the ashram from far, this Mrigari saw him and he ran to Narad Muni to fall at his feet, and as he was running he saw some ants on the floor. He took out his chadar and then brushed aside the ants and then he moved forward so that he would not even kill the ant. Of course, that also took some time. But the thing is the surrender to the process. How much we surrender to the process. It's not simply saying, oh, I surrender to the process. No, that's lip service. We have to actually put it into action. Every single instruction are we putting into practice. How much we have heard, or are we even hearing first? Are we even reading Prabhupada's books? And after reading and after hearing, are we applying those? We have to introspect. Now, Prabhupada said, chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 principles, I'll go back to Godhead. Okay, I'll do these 2 things. And to be able to steadily do these things, that is what is important, steadily. Nishtha. The stages of advancement of devotional service. Ado Shraddha. Tato Sadhu Sangha. We'll take some time on here. Online is up. Ado Shraddha. First of all is Shraddha, some preliminary faith. Oh, maybe these Hare Krishna people are good. Maybe there's something nice. This philosophy, maybe what he spoke to me just now, it feels nice. Okay, let me buy a book. Why would they buy a book? Some Shraddha, some faith is there. Okay, maybe this is something good. In that good faith. Then what comes next? Sadhu Sangha, association of devotees. What happens in the association of devotees? Atha bhajana kriya. They will engage us in services, various kinds of devotional service. Then, by engaging in devotional service, anartha nivritti, the bad qualities, all the dirty things in the heart will leave. After this happens, then comes nishtha. Nishtha means fixed, steady. So until this point we can understand that our devotional service is not steady. Until we come to this nishtha platform, that means we are unwavering in our discipline, unwavering in our duty. Not that sometimes I feel very ecstatic, sometimes it's very nice, sometimes I feel very down. This is what happens actually, because of our anartha that is in our heart. Our stumbling blocks are not somewhere outside. Our stumbling blocks are in our heart. Anartha, nivritti. That nivritti has to happen. That we have to cleanse all these anarthas. Then we can feel the ecstasy continuously. That is the platform of nishtha, and then there will be ruchi, taste. Until then otherwise we won't be able to even chant Hare Krishna. There is some taste, definitely. But there is a faint glimmer of the real taste that a pure devotee would experience when he chants Hare Krishna. To get an idea of what a pure devotee feels while he chants Hare Krishna, there is this verse of Rupa Goswami. This is Antyalila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antyalila, chapter 1, text 99. Tunde tandavani ratim vitanute tundavali labdhaye karna kroda kadam vini ghatayate karnarbudebhyah spriham cetah prangana sangini vijayate sarvendriyanam kritim no jane janita ki adhiramritai krishneti varnadvai. I do not know how much nectar the two syllables Krishna have produced. When the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. Here it's translated as many, many mouths. But actually, Tunde Tandavali, Tandavani, Tundavali Labdhe. Tundavali means millions. Innumerable. That is suggested here. Not many, many means like 20, 30. Many, many means, innumerable. That kind of many, many. When that name enters the holes of the ears, we desire many millions of years. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind and therefore all the senses become inert. So, at least when I am chanting, sometimes I feel asleep. If I am tired, I feel asleep. That's my stage. But, just like even a materialist would, when he is feeling sleepy, if he takes a coffee, that caffeine, kicks him in the head and then he will feel alert. For a pure devotee, he is intoxicated with the holy name. It acts like cocaine, caffeine or cocaine, times a million. So, such a person like Haridas Thakur, he could not sleep. Goswamis, they could not sleep because they were high on the holy name. So, we are not against intoxication, but intoxicate yourself with the holy name. So, easier said than done, but that is the stage. There is a stage like that. At least we have to understand that. So now, what taste we have when chanting the holy name, it is a faint glimmer, at least in my case, it's a faint glimmer of what actually the real taste a pure devotee would feel. So, the real taste, ruchi, will happen when we are on the platform of nishtha. And for the nishtha to happen, this anartha must go away. And that's what makes this Vaidhi Bhakti, we chant in the morning. What's that? You see this? Every morning we chant this before the offenses. Bahu janma kare jodi shravan kirtan tabutana paya Krishna pade premadhan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. There are verses which says even one chant you can, all your sins are, gone. In the 6th canto, Prabhupada quotes from the Vishnu Puran, Padma Puran. So, there are many references like that. But here it is said, you can chant for millions of years. Still, Bahujanma kare jadi, Shravan Kirtan, Tabutana paya Krishna. Even then, the feeling of love of Godhead will not even sprout if we commit offenses. Of course, we say chant Hare Krishna and go back to Godhead. Not that I chant I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I will go back to Godhead this lifetime. Oh, I'm making it back. That's not the way. We have to always see how many faults I have. I have no way that I can ever reach Krishna. We should always think like that. Although, yes, this is all done to go back to Godhead, but the devotee should never demand Krishna. Krishna, you must take me back because I'm chanting. Who are we to demand? If Krishna wants us to be here, we cannot protest. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's last... Oh, sorry, I'm too fast. Okay? Oh, good. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's last verse in the Sikshashtaka is that Aslishyava padaratam pinashtumam adarshanan marmahatam karotu va. Whether you come before me or whether you don't come at all, whether you embrace me or trample me under your feet, whatever you want, you can do with me. If you want me to stay in this material world for 1,000,000 years, so be it, if that is your desire. I am only concerned about following your desire. You are still my Lord. It's not that I will complain because you did not take me back. That's called humility. And when we are in that mood, then actually Krishna will take us back. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. In the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it says, quickly, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. But the swift, Krishna's swiftness, he is always swift. Nobody can be faster than him. But he will only respond to our surrender. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. Mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvasha. As all surrender unto me. I think this is changed version is like something else. Anyway, you get the idea. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. So as we surrender, so he rewards us. He can reward us with everything, but he will not. Because he will only reward us what we want. If I want to be a dog, then he will give me a body of a dog. If I want to go back to Krishna, he will reward me with that. In fact, even devotional service he does not award devotional service so easily. This is explained in the 5th canto. Five, 6, 18 of Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. Rajan patir gururalam bhavatam yadunam daivan priyah kulapatih vanakinkaro vaha अस्त्वेवमंग भगवान भजतां मुकुंदो मुक्तिं ददाति कर्हिचित् स्मन bhakti yogam. Sukadeva Goswami continued, My dear king, the supreme person Mukunda is actually the maintainer of all the members of the Pandava and Yadu dynasties. He is your spiritual master, worshipable deity, friend, and the director of your activities. To say nothing of this, he sometimes serves your family as a messenger or servant. This means he works just as ordinary servants do. Those engaged in getting the Lord's favor attain liberation from the Lord very easily, but he does not very easily give the opportunity to render direct service unto him. So liberation is still not bhakti yet. You can still be in the Brahman effulgence, just suspended, in the spiritual sky, with no activity. That he can even give. Even the demons get it. If you are very envious of Krishna, you will get liberation. If you are extremely envious of Krishna, you will get liberation because you are always thinking of him. So many demons, they got liberation like that. That he will easily give away. Even that is of course difficult, but that also he can give away. But devotional service, mana bhakti yogam, he will not give so easily. So therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us, Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatat bhakti rahetu tvai. Let me be even birth after birth be here in this material world, but let me always be engaged in your service. I don't want to go to the spiritual world and not be engaged in your service like the souls in Brahman effulgence do. That is worse to me. Kaivalyam narakayate. Kaivalya is narak for me. Hell. Kaivalya means liberation, merging into the impersonal Brahman. That is hell for me. But hell is more than heaven or spiritual world if there is service of your Lordship. So we have to come out of these anarthas. For that, this association of devotees is very important. Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. These things will go on and on and on until we come to the point of Nishtha. Not that this association of devotees have to be relinquished. Still, it goes on. Chhadiya Vaishnav Seva Nistar Peche Keba. Who sung this? I think Narottam Das Thakur? I think so. Not very sure. Narottam Das Thakur, or was it Jaradananda Pandit? Not sure. But this verse, Prabhupada quoted many times. Chhadiya Vaishnav Seva Nistar Peche Keba. Who has reached the spiritual world in all of history without having serving the Vaishnavas? Nobody. Because ultimately, it's not that when we go to the spiritual world, I'm going to be with Krishna and we're going to have a personal relationship for eternity. They're going to be devotees, In the spiritual world, they're going to be devotees. So unless I know how to live in the association of devotees, sadhu sangha, and my anartha nivritti is completely gone, I will not be admitted there. So unless I associate with sadhus here, this is probationary. Unless I do this, then only I will be admitted there. Not that I will bypass this, I will be with Krishna alone and I will go back to Krishna. No. Krishna says, first of all, serve my devotee first. Learn how to do that first. Why Krishna? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us, Gopi Bharto Pada Kamalayor Dāsa Dāsanu Dāsa. Not just serve my servant. Krishna says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I am the servant of the servant of the servant of your Lordship. In fact, there is one very good verse from the Mukunda Mala Stotra. Sorry. Too fast? You are done? There is a nice verse from Mukunda Mala Stotra. Okay, this one. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, dāsa, dāsa, 3 times. Servant of the servant of the servant. Look at this verse from the... This is by King Kulashekar, who is one of the 12 Alvars. You know, the Sri Sampradaya. Great king, Vaishnav. Majjanmana phalamidam madhukaita bhare matprarthaniya madanugraha esha eva tvadbhritya bhritya paricharaka bhritya bhritya bhrityasya bhritya iti mam smaralokanatha. You see what he says? O enemy of Madhu and Kaitabha, O Lord of the universe, the perfection of my life and the most cherished mercy you could show me would be for you to consider me the servant of 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 your servant. 7 times use the word servant in this verse. King Kulashekar. And he was a king, you know. He was not a menial servant, you know. He was a king. And he was talking like this. This is the essence of spiritual life. To become a servant of the, not to become the master of the master of the master of the master. That's the material world. Everybody wants to become the master of the master. And whoever is like that, he is glorified. The biggest master is glorified. The servant of the servant is nowhere to be seen, no importance. So when we say servant in the spiritual sense, it is not the wretched position like in the material world. It is the most exalted position. It is so exalted that Krishna himself takes up that position, as you see in this picture. He took up that position of servant. In this material world, there is a competition who will be the biggest master. In the spiritual world, there is always competition who will be the biggest servant. Who will be the humbler servant. And Krishna himself participates in that competition. That just shows how important it is, this service attitude. More than anything else. There is a saying in English, I don't care how much you know. I only want to know how much you care. There's a saying like this. So even if one is a big scholar, if he does not have the service attitude, it doesn't mean anything. I don't care how much you know. I only want to know how much you care. Caring, that is what comes in the association of devotees. We have to care for other devotees. Genuinely we have to care. Then that means I am humble. If I don't have any attitude of caring for others, I am nowhere. Then I will do this diplomacy or scheming. What is good for me? How I can be happy. As long as we fight for that, we will never be happy. A materialist is explained in this verse. I don't know if it comes. Yeah. This is 7.742 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sukhaya dukkha mokshaya sankalpa iha karmina sadapnoti haya dukkham anihaya sukhavrataha. In this material world, every materialist desires to achieve happiness and diminish his distress, and therefore he acts accordingly. Actually, however, one is happy as long as one does not endeavor for happiness. As soon as one begins his activities for happiness, his conditions of distress begin. If I think that I am not happy and if I start my plan for any happiness that I want to achieve, that means by inherently, implicitly we are implying that I am not happy now. If I get that, I will be happy. So I am in a state of miserable condition actually, if I am endeavoring for happiness. Therefore, those Brahma-bhuta Prasannatma, those who are actually happy, they don't endeavor further. What to endeavor for? I have already achieved the highest. What to endeavor? It's also explained in the 6th chapter Yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate na adhikam tata. In the 6th chapter, 22nd verse, the condition of the transcendentalist is explained. Yam labdhva chaparam labham. Having attained devotional service, the devotee thinks, I don't want anything else. I am quite happy wherever I am. Manyate na adhikam. There is nothing more to be achieved. Adhikam means more. Na adhikam. Yasmin sthito na dukkhena. He will never be dukkhena, in distress. Even guruna pe vichalyate. Even in the greatest adversary. Even in the greatest difficulty, he will never depart from the truth. He will never be bewildered. Because actually he does not feel the difficulty. Difficulty is as long as we fight for our sense gratification. In the state of Krishna consciousness, actually there is no difficulty. Why? Because even the dearest thing is life for any person. The dearest thing for any person is his own life. And it is said, exactly in Chaitanya Charitamrita, for a devotee, Krishna is 10 million times more dearer than life itself. So, if I have to give my life, that is 1/1,000,000th of the consideration. It's like insignificant. Okay, I give even my life for Krishna. So, in that mood, he surrenders. It's not that, I'm making a big sacrifice for Krishna, I'm surrendering my life. He does not even feel it like that. My life is nothing. What my greatest possession is my life, and that is nothing for me. Even giving his life, the devotee does not think that I have done a great sacrifice. What I have given, my own life, which already belongs to him. He always feels himself inadequate to serve Krishna. And that humble position is what attracts Krishna. And when Rupa Goswami was presenting his humility when he first met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him to even stop. I can't bear your humility. You're too humble, it breaks my heart. I cannot even withstand your humility. That's what attracts the heart of the Lord. So, this is a stark difference between Dronacharya. Dronacharya knew very well that this is called Tarorapi Sahishnuna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us Tarorapi Sahishnuna, more tolerant than the tree. The tree is so tolerant, it withstands so many weather conditions, extremes, and then it gives shade to the passing travelers, and it also gives fruit, flowers, everything for the benefit of others only. And if a person wants to cut the tree, he has to make an axe, the handle of which is taken from the wood from the tree. So take the wood from the tree, make an axe and cut the tree. Even then the tree does not protest. Similarly here, Dronacharya gave the art to Drishtadyumna, and using that same art he is killing him now. He did not protest. This is the kind of qualities that we have to, we should know that what a devotee is all about. And we have to judge ourselves, not judge others. We are always quick to judge others. Oh, see, this person is not so tolerant as what is explained in the verse. How tolerant I am, first of all. How humble I am, first of all. So introspection is more important than just finding fault. That's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, if you want to find fault with yourself first. The expert fault finder will find fault with himself. Fault finding is bad, but if I can find my own faults, of course it is not that I delve in my faults and I become depressed. No, the thing is how I can improve. Okay, this. So I have to take guidance from the Vaishnavas. Okay, how I have to do this, and of course from Prabhupada's books. So Prabhupada will guide us through his books, through his devotees, and sometimes even through Maya. Sometimes it so happens that I am too adamant, too headstrong. And I read, I hear, still I don't listen. Then sometimes Krishna will use his trusted agent, Maya. to give us a kick from the back. As you say, kick in the ass. We sometimes need that as well. Because, now, for example, we learn, every time, we are not the body, we are the soul, we are not the body. It's like, we are numb to that sometimes, if we are not, yes, we are not the body, we are the soul. But how far am I even realizing it? How far I am acting on it? So sometimes, as material world is, a dearest person will pass away. Then all the philosophy has to be, put into action now. So these are the kind of reversals, or sometimes I commit offense. And then I get hit in the face by Maya. And then I realize. So Krishna's whole purpose in this material world is for training us how to become perfect devotees. If you're going in the wrong path, he will get the Maya to kick us back in the right path. And if you still don't listen, harder kick. Still don't listen. So this is how he is using Maya, he is using his devotees, he is giving us the scriptures, everything to guide us to one direction, back to surrender to him. So we should develop these kind of qualities. It is not that we have to extraneously endeavor, but we have to follow the process given by the spiritual master. And be cautious in our practice. Then we will automatically attain all these things. Naturally, we will attain. A devotee does not have to sit in a, moral studies. We used to have in our school, one subject. It was moral studies, but it's an optional, it's like a auxiliary subject. You can fail moral studies, but if you pass the others, you will go to the next class. How much more value the morals are given, you can understand. Anyway, but there was a separate moral studies. A devotee does not have to sit for that kind of things. Automatically, he will develop all the good qualities. By just following this process strongly, not just, yes, Prabhu, I am coming every day, every week once I am coming, once a week. I am also devotee only. That kind of, if we take it so cheaply, then we will not make any advancement. It's like, that saying, fire will cook, right? If you put something on the fire, it will cook. Okay, fire will cook. So I put the fire here and I put the pot right on the ceiling, hanging from the ceiling. How it will cook? We have to be close to the fire. Not that I could bring it close for a second and then I put it back there. And after 10 minutes I put it again once again. Where it will cook? So the process is potent. Fire is potent. It is not that fire is not potent. How close I am to the fire, that is what matters. So the process is sometimes when we don't follow it properly over the years, after 10, 20 years, 30 years down the line, I see that I did not make as much advancement as was promised in the books. Then I realize, I think this process is not very potent. It's just saying only all these things. We lose faith. But actually the problem was, I never came close to the process. I always kept my distance in my comfort zone, never willing to surrender as much as is needed. And then chanting, okay, chanting is good. Chanting is the only way. Okay, I'll chant something. That kind of thing. How many anarthas we have? And anarthas will only go in the sadhu sangha, association of devotees. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stressed it so much, this sadhu sangha, that verse is there, sadhu sangha, sarva shastra koi, lavamatra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi koi. All the shastras, they prescribe sadhu sangha repeatedly. Even 1/11, lavamatra means 1/11 of a second if we associate with sadhu, that is highest perfection. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stressed it so much that he preferred it. Actually, it's a verse from what Puran? Kurma Puran, I forgot. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted this verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that it is better to stay in the association. It is better to stay in a cage full of fire and wild animals, snakes and tigers and everything together than to associate with a non-devotee or a so-called pseudo-devotee. It is better to. So that much asatsanga tyaga has to be stressed. So that much it is important to stay in the association of devotees. So much so that Srila Prabhupada said, even sometimes, even when one is advanced, one should never relinquish. What to speak, even Prahlad Maharaj, when he saw directly Narasimhadev himself, what did he ask? Narasimhadev said, I want to give you a boon. Prahlad Maharaj said, I'm not a businessman, I have not traded with you. All my devotional service is not to get something from you, I don't want it. Then Narasimhadev said, no, I want to give you something. So he said, okay, give me liberation to my father at least. If you really want to give something, give liberation. And Narasimhadev said, no, that is already done because you are a devotee, 21 generations of your family are all going back. Ask anything else. You could have asked anything in the world or even beyond the world. Lord is giving him, Then he said what? Please give me the benediction that how many ever lives I may take in this material world, let me be a servant of your devotees. Tavabhritya seva. He said, I want Tavabhritya seva. I want your servant's service. Service of your servant. Devotional service is more potent than Krishna himself. Which is why Krishna himself wants to find out what is it. Because the personification of devotional service is Radharani. Krishna himself wanted to know how Radharani is feeling for me. Therefore, Krishna himself became a devotee to experience the relish that Radharani would. As it said, in the consideration of Krishna was, before he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his consideration was that I am self-satisfied, I don't need anything for my satisfaction, but the satisfaction that I am feeling, Srimati Radharani is feeling million times more, or 100 times, million, whatever, times more than me. So much so that he himself wanted to become the devotee and relish that. And devotees prefer even staying in the not prefer staying in the material world, but they prefer service to going back to Godhead. By that we can understand how potent is service than even going back to Godhead. Of course, going back to Godhead means service. But the desire to go back to Godhead is still, there is a personal tinge involved, which the devotees absolutely does not have. Especially those who are pure devotees, they don't have this. They understand the true significance of devotional service, that it has no impediment, no matter even whether in hell or heaven. Just before we go. नारायण पराः सर्वे न कुतश्चन बिभ्यति स्वर्गापवर्ग नरकेषु अपि तुल्यार्थदर्शिना. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. So this is, of course, very exalted position, but we have to strive for this. And no matter what, there will always be many reasons that we quit devotional service. There will be many reasons. But if we can stick, then we will actually be fortunate. The reason to all this, the reasons that we formulate that may be the reasons for us to quit are all actually in our mind. Actually, there are no real reasons to quit. But we, because of our immaturity, we may think that this is not fit for me, that I am not fit for this or whatever. All this is Maya. We have to stick no matter what. Whether we are perfect or imperfect or whatever it is, we have to stick to the purpose. Then we will automatically be successful. Any questions or comments on this topic?
Yeah. Concerning the verse, Madhya 22, 14, 15.
Madhya what?
14, 15. So, Tattvavit. So, first of all, like you said, there must be faith. Then, okay, let me associate with the devotees. And one becomes a bit more serious, a bit clearer said, and therefore one is initiated by the spiritual master. and executes the regulative principles under his order. Okay. Then after that, thus one is freed from all unwanted habits and becomes free. So this is anatta nibbuti. Does that mean that the actual desire is not in the heart anymore, or just the habit is not manifested? In other words, is it that I stop my habit, although I might have some material desire still there? Is this called anatta nibbuti, or anatta nibbuti means the desire is not even there?
Yeah, the desire is not even there. Externally, by suppressing the activity, but the desire being still there, that is still. It's like, the roots are still there. The grass will grow again at an opportune moment. It will grow again. But this is uprooting or burning to the roots the desires, material desires. That's what bhakti is all about. Not that I keep it underground, just not manifest the symptoms of such desire, but I cannot actually, because by suppressing like that, I will just, like a volcano, what happens when you suppress and one day it will just burst. And the true colors will be manifest anyway. So it is better to be honest and work on that, as we, the first thing is we should not make an artificial show that I am a pure devotee. We all have desires, when we are starting out. Neophytes, until we reach the stage of perfection, as Prabhupada said, until there is absolutely no trace of material desire, we will not be admitted into the spiritual world. So, we have to work for that, In the beginning, we are not going to have it overnight. But as we perform devotional service, that anartha nivritti will happen. From the heart, we don't want to do this. From the heart, what we consider so important things, so much attention we invested, we understand that they don't deserve such attention. They're not really important things actually. Important thing is how to progress in my spiritual life. It's from the heart.
Desires cannot be suppressed. It can be diverted to Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. Desires have to be replaced with serving Krishna. Desiring for my own sense gratification, that is bad. But if you suppress it without having enough taste for the devotional service, then we become, this is what happens. This is chapter 3, text 6 of Bhagavad Gita. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyachara sa uchyate. One who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on the sense objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Mithyachara is a pretender. So we will become unnecessarily pretender. So we cannot become so-called renounced without having enough attachment. We cannot become detached from this material world without having enough attachment for Krishna. That does not happen. Our natural position is to be attached. Either we attach to the rubbish Maya, material energy, or we are attached to Krishna. It's not that actually we are ever detached. We are not detached from anything. We are only attached either to this or that. That's all. So when we speak of detachment, that actually means proportionate attachment to Krishna. If we don't have the proportionate attachment, if I just want to be detached, focusing on I have to be detached, we cannot be a pretender. How far? How long can we be? It's like Prabhupada said, when you are walking, you take the you put the first step forward, and when the foot is secure, then you lift your back foot, and then you go to the next step. Not that you have not put your foot here, and you also take out this. What will happen? You fall down. So if we don't have enough footing in the spiritual, enough taste in the spiritual life, then we cannot actually let go of this back step of material anchor. We cannot. That's why higher taste, that Vishaya Vinivartante. Therefore the sense control, like the 4 regulative principles we follow, sense control, cannot really be done without chanting that 16 rounds. Just saying that I follow the 4 X but I don't chant the 16 rounds. That actually cannot really follow. Either in the mind, either subtly or grossly, we are deviating from that. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Though the embodied soul may be 259. 59, 259. I think it's taking some time here, but though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness.
So that ruchi, that taste, in the beginning, so that Prabhupada was saying that first of all, one develop taste in the service itself, instead of, please Krishna. There's first of all taste in the service. It's the beginning of ruchi.
Yeah, very selfish. Actually, you cannot, when you're developing taste in the service, that means you are automatically developing taste for Krishna. Because you wouldn't do all these things if you did not have any feeling for Krishna. Like a person who would surrender his life to Krishna, he does so many things without getting paid any, remuneration. He does this just to please Krishna. If he was not having that, because devotional service and Krishna actually cannot be separated. Radha Krishna nahe anya. They are never separated. When you are having taste for devotional service, there is automatically a taste for Krishna. Is there. So otherwise you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it for no reason.
Some might think, all by becoming this and now get free from material misery.
Do this in order to get freed from material miseries. That is what is like eating for just getting myself relieved of hunger. We eat for when the nutritionist, what the nutritionist says, you eat healthy, you must eat this so that getting out of hunger is a natural consequence. The nutritionist says, you must eat this so that you get strength and your vitamin D or whatever, this thing, that thing. We eat for that. We eat for our health. But getting out of hunger is a natural consequence already. You don't need to eat for just getting out of hunger. You eat for health. But then getting out of hunger is a natural thing. Now similarly, getting out of material misery is a natural consequence of having been absorbed in Krishna. Being absorbed in Krishna. It is not to be desired. It will happen on the side by itself. So one who does just to get out of the attachment of material, miserable condition, that is considered in the mode of goodness. But the transcendental loving service, that's why you see here, there is this mention in 3rd canto. 329.8. Devotional service 329.10, कर्म निर्हारम उद्दिश्य परस्मिन् वा तदर्पणम यजेद यष्टव्यम इति वा पृथक भाव स सात्विकः. When a devotee worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offers the results of his activities in order to free himself from the inebriaties of fruitive activities, his devotion is in the mode of goodness.
Is that called anartha?
It's still anartha. Because next verse it explains, the manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of the Ganges flows down naturally towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord. So in this there is no consideration of, whereas if you see 329.8, 10, in order to free himself from the inebriaties of fruitive activities. Just like, Narada Muni, when he went to Dwaraka, Krishna was having headache. You know the story. So, Narada Muni asked him, how is it that you have headache? So, Krishna said, no, the dust of the feet of my devotee, if I put on my head, my headache will be cured. Then Narada Muni said, no problem. Then he went to Rukmini first. Then asked for the dust. She said, no, how can I give? I will go to hell. I'm his wife. How can I give my foot dust to his head? This is talking nonsense. What kind of sadhu are you? So like this, everybody, starting from Queen Rukmini, all the way to even the citizens of Dwaraka, he asked all the queens, no response. He got chastised practically. Then he went to the Dwaraka city, city center, and from the tower he announced everybody, your Lord Krishna, you are such great devotees, your Lord is having a headache. He is saying that dust of his feet, of the devotees, will cure him. So all of you are devotees, please give some dust. Everybody started, scolding him again. What is this? You are sadhu. What advice you are giving us? So like this, he came back to Krishna saying, you said this is the solution, but I thought it's very easy, but nobody is giving. Then Krishna said, you go to the gopis in Vrindavan, they will give. When he went to Vrindavan, and we said told the gopis elaborately what the problem was, they said, why are you wasting time telling the problem? Quickly take the dust and go. Krishna's headache must be cured immediately. Then Narad Muni asked, are you not afraid of going to hell by doing so? Let us go to hell. His headache must be cured. So that's where there is no consideration of whether we are going to go out of material problems. Let us be in problem. If Krishna wants that, let me be.
How? So does that mean that there's different levels to devotees? Because it really happens, having material desire.
It's not exactly material desire. It is showing us the super excellence of the gopis, mood of devotional service, which is even, of course, it is two part. The Krishna Lila, every time there is two part lessons. One is the material side of it, considering the pious activities and impious activities. That's one side. But the relationship that Rukmini has with Krishna is that of a husband and wife. Swakiya, Madhurya Ras. So in that Ras, it's not exactly a consideration of heaven or hell, but in her mood as a wife, she cannot do that. That's the limitation. So, but whereas Radharani does not care, the gopis don't care about their personal thing. They just whatever Krishna wants, without any holding back. But as the material side of it is, there is this consideration. Of course, that's what they told Narad Muni, that we will go to hell if we go, if we do this to our husband. So just like Ramayana, there is a two parts. One part is showing how affection can be so miserable. Like Ram and Sita, they were so affectionate to each other. But that affection has caused so much misery. Although both of them are perfect. Ram was a perfect man. As an ideal man, he was playing the role of an ideal human being. He was an ideal man and she was an ideal woman. But you see, the union has only caused misery. So he's showing us how material attachment, even if, not that there's a perfect match made in heaven, no such thing. Even if it's a perfect match, still there will be problems. So that side is showing. And the other side of it is that the feeling that, the separation that they're feeling, Ram and Sita, it's not actually ordinary. It's actually Vipralambha Seva, which is spiritual, which is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to feel, which is what Radharani feels. So that side is also there. So Krishna Lila always have, multi-dimensional lessons for all classes of people. So.
Then Lakshmi was not allowed to enter the Rasa
Yeah, that's a good point. Lakshmi herself was not allowed into the Ras Leela because that mood of a wife is different from that of a paramour. So that higher rasa, that's why Ramya Kachadupasana Vrajavadhu Bir Ya Kalpita. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the devotional service of the gopis is by far the most excellent, super excellent way of serving Krishna. There's nothing that comes even close.
Because Chaitanya Prabhu has described Srimad Bhagavatam as a spotless Purana. How to understand that?
That is explained in the second verse of the Bhagavatam. So the question is, for those who are online, the question is that Sukadeva Goswami said this is Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless Purana. So how is that to be understood? Spotless, what is the spots first of all? We should understand why it is called spotless. We should understand what are the spots. So religion means should be ahaituki. Should be only to satisfy the Lord and nothing else. The dharma, artha, kama, moksha, they are all actually spots because they are not really coming to the point of pure devotional service, which is our Jiver Swarupai Krishner Nityadas. Our real position is to be Krishna's servant. So anything that is advocated as religion, but is not purely mentioning this aspect that we are actually eternal servants of Krishna and that's why we have to do devotional service. Instead, it is promising some kind of, you do this sacrifice, go to heaven, enjoy some apsaras there and some somaras. And this kind of promises is not the real fruit of religion. So when something else is projected as the fruit of religious activities, that is called spots. It's not pure religion. So pure religion is there in the 112, as he said, Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsananam satam. Dharma projita, you see. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. The Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. You see? So Bhagavatam only deals with devotional service and nothing else. There is no karmakanda involved, there is nothing that is suggested here except devotional service. Whereas in other Puran, karmakanda is also glorified, jnanakanda is also glorified in this way. But Bhagavatam you will never find any of this. Only bhakti, that is the only subject of Bhagavatam. That's why it's spotless. What was the question on online? What was the question online? I don't see one.
Shraddha means preliminary faith that maybe these Hare Krishnas are good, you said. But I also hear that Shraddha in the process is a serious thing. Sisi Shraddha Sabde Vishvasa Kande. It says that Shraddha is a serious thing that gets someone into Sadhu Sangha. Shraddha also means feeling the heart, isn't it? So it seems there is different Shraddhas or different stages of it. Can you explain it a bit?
Very nice question. So Shraddha, Ado Shraddha, when we say Ado Shraddha, that is the preliminary faith. Some good faith, Okay, this is something good. That is a glimmer of faith. But actually, Shraddha Shabde, as the verse was quoted in the comment itself, Shraddha Shabde, there is a verse here. श्रद्धा शब्दे विश्वास कहे सुदृढ़ निश्चय कृष्ण भक्ति कहले सर्व कर्म कृत है मध्य 2262 CC चैतन्य चरितामृत मध्य लीला 22nd chapter 62nd verse. Shraddha is confident, firm faith that by rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. Such faith is favorable to the discharge of devotional service. So this is the ultimate Shraddha. So Shraddha develops as when we say Ado Shraddha, that's not the end of Shraddha. That's the beginning of Shraddha. As we associate with devotees, the Shraddha improves and goes more stronger and stronger and stronger. Until it comes to this point where just by doing Krishna's service, everything will be taken care of. I don't need to worry about anything else than to just serve Krishna. So that is firm faith. So this is explained that in the Sadhu Sangha, this Shraddha will increase. That is explained in the 3rd canto, 3:25-25. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana katha tajjoshanada swapavarga vartmani shraddha ratir bhaktir anukramishyati. In the association of pure devotees, see, this is what will happen in the Sadhu Sangha. Ado Shraddha, then Sadhu Sangha. What happens in that Sadhu Sangha? This is what happens. In the association of pure devotees, Satam Prasangan, it is said. Sadhu Sangha, Satam Prasangan, same. Discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. See, discussions of Krishna take place in the association of devotees. So when we say Sadhu Sangha, not just to be in the proximity of some sadhus. The mosquito also is sitting on the body of sadhu. What is doing? Biting. That kind of proximity is not the real thing. Hearing. Sadhu has to be heard. And instructions have to be followed. Not that I hear and then, yes, good instruction, I'll go. No. Pranipatena, pariprashnena, sevaya. All have to be there with sadhu. Pranipat, there has to be surrender, there has to be inquiry, and then there has to be service. 3 things. Then only it will be fructifying, the result. So when this is what happens in the association of devotees, we learn how to hear, we learn how to chant, we learn how to seva. Sevaya is very, very important. We have to serve the devotee, especially the spiritual master, and also his disciples who are guiding us. They are also Shiksha Gurus. We also have to serve them. So, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on this path of liberation. And thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. See in this verse, Shraddha, you see Shraddha? I think you cannot immediately see maybe because of the delay. Or you can. Shraddha, firm faith. Shraddha, ratir, bhaktir, anukramishyati. So as we associate with devotees, our Shraddha, our faith, our rati, our taste, ruchi and rati same, and bhakti, our devotion, anukramishyati, they develop more and more. So yes, there is a spectrum of Shraddha, from the faint glimmer to the absolute conviction that nothing but Krishna. So there is this whole spectrum of Shraddha. So our whole purpose is to come from that point to this point. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna did not have any Shraddha. He was having his own thing. Totally even, Then at the end he had complete Shraddha. Krishna, whatever you say, Krishna said, Sarvadharman paritejya mamekam saranam vraja. Surrender unto me, giving up everything else. Then Arjuna said, Karishevachanam, I will do. So that firm conviction, without argument, without any hesitation, that is called firm faith. That is the end of the spectrum of Shraddha. And that is what is perfection. I hope that answers the question. In fact, it's one of the aspects of surrender. Rakshishyati iti vishvasa. 6 aspects of surrender. One of the fourth one is this. Rakshishyati iti vishvasa. Krishna will protect me in anything, no matter what. I just need to be serving Krishna, that's all. So that is Shraddha. So anything else? So we'll stop here for a long session. Grantha Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Gaur